This past week, I went and visited 2nd Street Cinema located in Beaumont, California. Here's my review. It's hard to tell in this picture, but from the outside, I can tell it definitely needs to upgrade. It does not look like it would be as clean of a theater as it actually is on the inside. I personally would like to see a gray and white paint job done on the outside of this theater and have that green color that's in that 2nd Cinema wording be a border around the entire theater in bright tubed light, but that's just me. I'll show examples of it later on. When approaching the inside, there's only one way in and one way out, and given that it's just a large wall area, I personally would have liked to have had at least 2 more doors on each side as an entry and exit. As soon as you walk in, you are greeted with walk-up kiosks to order your tickets, food, drinks, candy, etc. But then literally right behind those kiosks, you have your concession stands, and to the left of that, you have your guest services, where usually the managers are there to provide refunds and stuff. But between the walk-up kiosk, the concession stand, and this big wall that's right behind the kiosk as well, and with the guest services, it just feels like there's so much in such a little area. It feels very compact. When I was there probably wasn't any more than 10 to 12 people in the lobby, and I felt very claustrophobic. Now, I know in this photo they have the line going in a horizontal pattern, which probably could have made a decent difference, but that wasn't even set up, and even just looking at this picture here, I believe it would still feel kind of claustrophobic and condensed because of this huge wall that's just in the middle of the room. With the space that they have in this entry area, I would like to see a little bit more added and changed around, but more on that later. When it comes to 2nd Street Cinema's food and beverage option, they have a lot of different combinations that you could do. They have combos for popcorn and soda, they have combos for popcorn and food, they have kids combos. As far as their drinks go, they have drinks such as ices, and they have fountain sodas, as I pointed out earlier. They have bottled drinks, which really kind of doesn't make sense for me to get those because you can't refill them. They're really expensive. They also have a selection of beer and wine to choose from. It's canned wine, so I've never really tried that, but let me know in the comments how it is if you've had that before. As far as snacks go, they have your typical mozzarella sticks, pretzel, sides of condiments, popcorn chicken, french fries, a bunch of different good stuff. Along with that, they also have pizzas, such as cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza, buffalo chicken pizza. They have hot dogs, and then also they just have your regular candy. And that's pretty much the food items that they have available for you at 2nd Street Cinema. I wasn't able to eat any of it, but if you have tried their food, go ahead and let me know how it is in the comments below for those that may want to eat there in the future. When you get all your goodies together, you'll walk around this corner to get to your auditoriums. Half of them are on the left side of the theater and half of them are on the right. If you go to the left, you will be greeted upon your pickup order area. Notice though that they don't have a station for you to butter your own popcorn. Huge L, 2nd Street Cinema. You got to do better than that.
You've got to do better, Senator.
To the left of that area, on the left-facing wall, is your drink station, and then on your right is the bathrooms. Once you go a little further down the hall, that's where you'll hit your auditoriums on this side of the theater. Now, I like this layout for the most part, but I do believe that the beverage station and restrooms should be on both sides of the theater, not just one, but that's just a personal opinion. I believe that the auditoriums that are on the left side are bigger in size for the more popular movies, and the auditoriums on the right side are the smaller auditoriums, which is fine. Many, if not most theaters have that, so that's not a big deal at all. I will say though that the auditoriums are the saving grace for this theater. All auditoriums have leather reclining seats, and as I mentioned in my last video, I love to sink into my chairs, and these do exactly that. Even though I was in a smaller auditorium, it still had great sound and great picture. I saw the re-release of Toy Story for its 30th anniversary at this theater, and it looked and sounded great. Back to the theater review though. If you noticed on the outside of the building, it shows that 2nd Street Cinema is equipped with Dolby Atmos. Now that is Dolby for just one auditorium, which is their giant screen cinema room, but when I was there, that auditorium was shut down because they're going to be changing it to an IMAX. Personally, I love IMAX, and I have never been to this theater when it was giant screen, so I'm curious about how the IMAX screen will look and how it will sound, and I plan on returning to this theater once it's finished to test it out. Now I want to go back and reflect on what I said earlier about the lobby area. I would definitely do a redesign to this layout because it just doesn't feel inviting or friendly. As I said, it felt very compact and just tight. So here's how I would do it. Instead of the guest services desk, turn that area into a little cinema bar. Along with that, I'll be moving the guest services area to a different part of the room that I'll show in just a second. But also get rid of this stupid wall that you run into when you walk in. That's right here behind this little kiosk. So for an example, here's what it would look like without that wall. Look at all that extra room. I'd personally get rid of it entirely and use that back wall, which is the divider from entry and exit, and put in flushed walk-up kiosks along with your guest services over there. That would create more space in the lobby for standing area if it gets packed. It gives an option for people to sit and eat or drink before or after the movie, and just enjoy the bar area. And finally, it then gives the option for more entry points for those that maybe don't want to get any concession and can just walk in and order from the kiosk there. I had that idea to put that there because in particular this year, we have seen a resurgence in walk-up business. So I don't think it would be a bad idea. Also, don't forget that I mentioned a new paint job for the outside. And so with my ideas, here is how from the outside to the inside, an updated remodeling could look for 2nd Street Cinema. Walking into this theater, I was not impressed. I clearly did not like the layout at all. It felt very crowded when it didn't need to be. But when walking into the auditorium area, I started to feel much better about the theater and the fact that it had good seating, good projection bulbs, to where the visuals, even for a 30-year-old movie, were crisp. It had good sound quality, and it was very kept up as far as cleanliness goes. Also, with the addition to an IMAX screen, this theater experience was safe for me to where I would give it a higher review. As I said, this theater is located in Beaumont, California, and if you specifically live in Hemet or the San Jacinto area, I think it's worth taking the extra 20 to 25 minute drive out to Beaumont to visit 2nd Street Cinema instead of going to the Regal Cinema that's out in the San Jacinto area. Even with the personal gripes I have with 2nd Street Cinema, this is still a much better movie theater to get the best experience possible. I give this movie theater a 7.5 out of 10. If there's a theater in your area you'd like for me to check out, be sure to list it in the comments below. My next theater visit is going to be Look Cinema in Downey, California. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you at the movies.